Carl Jung once said that everything that bothers us about other people can help us learn more about ourselves. What he didn't tell you, though, is how to use what you've learned to change things. What I'm about to say about the psychology of silence will change the way you deal with disrespect for good. When someone treats you badly, your first thought might be to fight back. You want them to get it, and maybe even learn something from it. The most powerful move, according to Carl Jung's groundbreaking work on psychology, is not what you say, but what you strategically take away. You'll understand why silence has become the best way to attack someone's mind by the end of this. This is something that most people don't know about being disrespectful. Jung learned this over many years of studying the mind. When you take away someone's time, energy, or presence, you're not just sending a message. Jung called it the shadow, which is the part of them that they don't want to come out and face. People who treat you badly do so because it makes them feel good. They think you'll still be there, so they act badly because they know your kindness will keep you around. Jung called this projecting. They put their own insecurities on you and expect you to deal with the emotional effects of their dysfunction. But here's the interesting part, and why you should pay close attention. When you stop calling them, responding to their messages, and showing up where you used to, you give them what Jung called active imagination. All of a sudden, they can only talk to an echo while trying to figure out what went wrong. That mess isn't happening by chance. It's their mind starting to face the shadow they've been avoiding. You will be amazed by what Carl Jung found out about people. The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. Both are changed if there is a reaction. But what happens when something disappears all of a sudden? When someone shuts you out without a reason, it makes you feel very uncomfortable. Jung called this individuation, which means that a person has to face their true self. Your absence acts as a mirror, reflecting back their actions without your feelings getting in the way. Don't skip this important part. This process of reflection is much more useful than any argument you could have had. Why? Because it forces them to face their problems. Jung knew that facing oneself is the only way to make real change, not pressure from others. Jung studied how people's minds work and found that cutting off access doesn't mean you're being passive. He called it conscious suffering. When you choose it over pointless conflict, you've decided that the person who doesn't see your worth isn't worth your time and energy. Jung said, becoming who you really are is the honor of a lifetime. You're taking part in the sacred process of becoming when you protect yourself instead of punishing them. The psychological twist that changes everything is that you become stronger in their eyes the more you work on your own inner work, or what Jung called the inner space. For now, they might think you're just being cool. They may think you'll return like you always did. But Jung's work as a therapist showed that the human mind can't ignore long-term absence. The silence gets worse as the days turn into weeks. They can tell that your glow is back, that your focus has changed, and that your energy is no longer swirling around them. When they realize they can't get in touch with you, not because you made a scene, but because you made a conscious psychological choice, that's when what Jung called the transcendent function kicks in. The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely, Jung said. This will change the way you see things forever. But for the people who treated you badly, seeing you fully accept yourself while they stay stuck in their mental patterns is even scarier. Being able to change in silence has a lot of power. Jung's ideas about how to change your mind say that when you level up without telling everyone about it, you change the energy around you. People are waiting for your response to see if you'll break or lash out, but you're quietly building behind the scenes. And I mean, nothing makes someone who disrespected you feel worse than realizing they didn't understand what Jung called your self-actualization process. They watch as you rise without noticing, and that's when their work in the shadows starts on its own. Jung found that people need patterns and predictability, but that real psychological power comes from what he called controlled chaos, the ability to change how you react without losing your inner peace. A lot of people think you need to tell them about your growth. They believe that success is only real if it's written down, talked about, or shown. But Jung knew that real psychological growth doesn't need to be approved of. It doesn't want anyone to notice it. It just happens when you use your imagination and work on yourself. You get what Jung called psychological advantage when you start to grow mentally, emotionally, financially, and spiritually without making a fuss. You stop being predictable. They can't tell how you'll react, and that lack of information is scary for your mind. While they're stuck in unconscious patterns like rumors, doubt, and trying to get you to do something, you're changing gears, putting money into yourself, reading more, changing how you move, and picking peace over small talk. This is an interesting part of Jung's psychology, and you need to fully understand what comes next. All of a sudden, you're not responding like you used to. You're not giving reasons or taking part in every argument. Not what you say, but how you've changed is what makes people look twice. Jung said that this change sets off what he called the anima/animus projection. They start to see things about you that they didn't see before. The lovely thing about it, you don't have to get back at them. Your growth tells them, "You didn't break me. You just made me remember who I am." The hero's journey, as Jung called it, is made up of steps they didn't see coming. Every goal you reach without them knowing, and every inner battle you win is part of this journey. They believed you would stay put. They felt you needed to be approved of by them. They thought that being rude to you would make you who you are. But your silence proved what Jung always said, that the mind has an amazing power to heal itself and change when the conditions are right. "I'm not what happened to me," Jung said. "I become what I choose to be." And one of the most powerful psychological choices you can make is to stay calm when someone treats you badly. Being conscious of your actions is not weakness, as Jung put it. People who treat you badly usually expect you to get angry or upset. Jung did research on psychological triggers and found that they want you to get mad, yell, or argue back. Because it gives them power, they want you to lose your cool. What changes, though, is the balance of power when you stay calm, when you choose peace over chaos and silence over shouting. And this is the genius of this approach. Being quiet doesn't mean hiding how you feel. Jung said it was about mastering them through something he called conscious integration. One of Jung's most important discoveries was about the limits of the mind. He said, "The best way to deal with other people's darkness is to fully understand your own." But what he found next will change the way you set boundaries forever. Setting boundaries without saying anything or apologizing is the most powerful way to show self-respect. When someone treats you badly, your first thought might be to explain why their actions were so bad. But what Jung called sovereign enforcement is what makes you truly strong, keeping your boundaries without asking others to understand. Stop responding to messages that drain you. Stop saying yes when you really mean no, and stop being there for people who only call when they need something. They lose access to you slowly, not because they are mean, but because of Jung's idea of psychological self-preservation. This is something Jung knew about people that most people don't. Everything that bothers us about other people can help us understand ourselves. But he also learned that not getting even is a calm thing to do. Not because you're weak, but because life has a way of making things right that is better than anything you could do. When you're angry at someone who hurt you, you feel emotionally connected to them. It makes you tired, makes it hard to think clearly, and keeps your feelings stuck in what Jung called the past-oriented shadow. Let go of that need and use that energy to become the best version of yourself instead. This will break the cycle. Going away is sometimes the strongest thing you can do. You don't do it out of weakness or defeat, but because you want to and because you respect yourself. When someone treats you badly over and over, they expect you to stay. They want you to keep talking to them, letting them in, and putting up with their behavior. If you choose to leave quietly, though, your absence sends a stronger psychological message than any words could, and they start to feel a loss they never thought possible. It's not about ghosting or being petty to disappear with respect. Jung says it's about getting your energy back. It's about realizing that your worth doesn't depend on showing people who don't see it what it is. You stop having pointless conversations. Stop waiting for people to say sorry. Don't try to fix things that aren't broken. You leave with Jung's idea of individuated grace. No drama, no explanations, you're just gone. And that kind of disappearance is scary for the mind. Why? Because it makes people deal with their actions without your feelings getting in the way. Jung found that this kind of honest conversation with oneself is one of the most powerful ways to change one's mind. They start to understand that your presence was never something they earned. It was a gift that they lost because of how they were acting without realizing it. They may try to reach out again after some time and wonder why you pulled away. But by then, you've changed into someone Jung called psychologically sovereign, which means they don't need closure from the people who hurt them. Hook or closing, you didn't disappear to punish them. It was meant to keep you safe. Jung always said that the relationship you have with yourself is the strongest one you will ever have. You make room for what makes you feel good when you leave behind what drains you. People who used to treat you badly will stand back and watch as you do well without them. That realization hurts more than any argument or dramatic scene. Since you left with such a high level of respect, they will still feel it in the space you used to fill and the silence you left behind. As Jung said, regret will slowly set in during that time of silence. Don't forget what Jung taught us about the power of psychological change the next time someone treats you badly, doesn't appreciate your loyalty, or doesn't appreciate how kind you are. Don't say anything. Don't try too hard to get their attention. Leave without a fuss, with poise, and with unwavering self-respect. They'll be able to hear everything they need to know about who you really are and who they lost in your silence. Thank you so much for going on this adventure with me. This message might have helped you, so don't forget to subscribe and share it with someone else who could use it.